that. How did we do that?
Word
That's
gets
the
out.
dumb luck of Chuck Roy sometimes, Mike.
Yeah, well,
You know,
a lot of talent, you draw people. You
good
draw.
on you
Then you're
for
such a good
putting
administrator.
that together. And speaking of sweet pudding, everybody, we are live on the YouTube. So Charlotte, want to make sure we said thank you, and we'll talk more about your son, William. Hope he's able to join us. It's super fun that you joined. I enjoyed meeting you earlier today via conversation. Rick and Amanda, glad to see you. You know I love you, and congratulations on your new home. I have a special surprise for you guys later. Rick served in the United States Marine Corps. Mr. Halsey is also a guest of ours tonight, and he served in the Army. So lots of dedicated folks, good to this country, and we're going to have a good comedy show. What's fun is with our tickets, you get to buy one and share one. So folks are able to be with a family member or a friend and laugh. Don't forget Rick and Amanda. I forgot. It's me over here. I have the camera on Mike while he's blowing his nose. That's fun. Go Pats.
I muted myself though.
Right. I know, but I left the camera on you. Totally my fault. But just regardless, want to make sure everybody knows.
Good luck getting any of these people back next week, Chuck.
Right, and that's just Patriots in general. Certainly not affiliated with any sort of game thingy that might have happened today. But a strong message to my good friend Rick Brow of New Hampshire, possibly a home state of live free or die. Gang, if you bought a general admission ticket, we also recognize you, but you just don't get the super fun special recognition we give to our VIPs. I think Gladys might curtly tell you that balcony seating is upstairs. She might be a little brisk about that, so please excuse me if she was abrupt.
Worked her tail off all day.
Right. Mike, this week, speaking of worked her tail off and celebrating Yom Kippur, is Stacy Sanders, the executive director of Elevating Connections. And she normally joins the show every week and speaks very eloquently about her charity. So if you don't mind, I'll speak about it today. Mike will fill in anything I miss, and we'll get on with the show. But super important to us that we say thanks for purchasing a ticket or even attending the show or watching us on YouTube. And thanks for listening to us tell you about Elevating Connections. What they do is provide connecting events for youth separated from their siblings by foster care. That's a real thing. When people are placed into foster care, when young people are placed into foster care, if they come from a larger family, oftentimes the foster parents cannot take on more than one child. Therefore, the siblings, the best case scenario is to separate them into multiple families. It's awful, but it happens. And Stacy's charity works hard to work with these kids, provide connecting events, bring the foster parents together. Sometimes the youth have challenges like being homeless. Stacy works directly with Urban Peak, a super charity here in Denver. And this year we were able to raise some money to provide not only connecting events where the brothers and sisters are able to be together, just simply do stuff like have a picnic, or they went to the park and made terrariums, stuff you would do with your brother and sisters in the summer. And the connecting events coming up are great for the winter. We were also able to set aside money as soon as the pandemic started. We knew there would be a need for things like phone bills or tablets or whatever to stay connected, of course, to school. I teach at Community College of Denver. When you tell me that they're from the foster care system, I buckle up and get ready. I teach comedy there, and I know some great comedies are going to come, but some of it might be rough. Some of it might reveal a difficult time in the foster care system. So my experience with these charities tells me we're doing the right thing by trying to raise some money, put money right in their hands so they can get these youth connected to whatever they need to stay connected to their brothers, sisters, and siblings. Thanks for letting me speak about that. Mike, did I do a good job? Do you think we filled in for Stacy well enough, or can
yes, I think we did.
You're a hell of a dad.
We even brought up the emancipated foster children who are
224 youth separated last year by the foster care system or emancipated from the foster care system without a permanent home. So we offer a $224 ticket that directly funds those connecting events. It honors those youth, and we provide a comedy workshop for them in the fall. It helps that they know that even right now, you're paying attention to us, talking about them. So thanks, everybody. We'll move on with the comedy show. We have plenty of fun for you. And wait, I forgot a couple more ads. If you buy a private event from us, that's how we've raised the most money for Elevating Connections. You know, I charge a shit ton of money to corporations to get Mike Langworthy and the rest of these people, and we donate 10% of that to the charity, and it really works. They've got a birthday party coming up. That's what we're trying to save for. There's Chef Mark Scapone of our virtual kitchen. He's working on some ideas for Elevating Connections virtual event in the fall. That's our job. We're the ones helping them put on their annual fundraiser. Normally it's at a beautiful space like this, but now we got to make it virtual. So I'm thinking of this setup. I kind of like the lighting, though I think it's a little too white sort of wedding. Doesn't say fundraiser enough.
Billy Idol would have liked it. It's
right. I'm thinking rich folks at this benefit.
Supper, when you think about it.
Right. So, you know, here I'm thinking we could inspire folks to, you know, buy wine. You always got to buy wine at fundraisers and
absolutely
get drunk. And then we were thinking of serving these cookies. I don't know who bid them. I don't know, but
I think they're left over from Pride Day. Are they?
Right. Thank you. And our virtual event team, very creative. And I'm also thinking the kids will want to see this puppy. So that's what I've got in store for the Elevating Connections celebrating
event. At home, that's a Doberman Pinscher that's been punched very, very hard.
And we do virtual fireworks. Now to begin, everybody, let's get on to the ApocaLips comedy show. Today is the history of beer and comedy. And I want to welcome you all. We've made some fun changes to the show for our VIPs. Welcome to the VIP section. That's down front. Remember, social distancing is required. So please try to keep a 6 feet of distance between you and the other people in other Zoom windows. That kid won't wear a mask. What can you do? Balcony seating. We do have table service up there and bar service. That's Blondie, the cartoon character. She hasn't had work since newspaper went out of business, but the pandemic's really taking it hard. So we got her working here. Mike, I did tell the folks we're broadcasting on youtube.com, Colorado comedy shows. And fun thing we're going to try and do, Mike, is do our sing-along and sing our theme song. So now that I wanted to move that up, include that with the start of the show. So everybody, if you want to sing along, turn on your microphone and sing along with us. Mike will lead the sing-along. That's Mike and his Golden Globe. So follow the Golden Globe. And Mike, I'd like to ask you a little joke to start the first warm-up. What do tailors sing at work, Mike?
So.
Hello, everybody. I've now found a third joke for do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
So.
I've already run out.
So good.
Right. So there we go. We follow the bouncing Golden Globe. We try. Mike, we'll try again. Everybody follow the bouncing Golden Globe.
Everybody sing
So.
So it's ApocaLips.
All right. Sing along to the theme song, everybody. And Mike will lead us. He doesn't know the tune, but he does know the words. So Mike, go ahead.
Actually, I don't know the words.
Theme song.
Come on,
everybody.
Come, it's time
for me.
It's time for the
ApocaLips.
We invited
all our friends.
And Chuck too. We invited good friends
like you. So come on, everybody.
Come on, everybody. It's time for
Apoca. It's time for ApocaLips. I think we should have drums, Mike. I think we should have drums. I don't know how we're going to do drums.
If only some of the people in the military could get some drums for it.
Right. Right. We know some deadheads probably can kick up a drum circle as fast as you need one. Gang, there's Mike, and there's I, live on our stage. If you've never been to our show, what we like to do is we tell a couple of jokes. First, we'd like to thank our sponsor. So our sponsor this week is Plan to Vote, Please. So
whether you vote for Joseph or Biden, I want to see you at the polls.
Right, whatever.
I don't even care if it's Joe or if it's Biden.
Right. So when Mike likes a sponsor, he rolls out the Ferrari, and we.
I kid. Of course, you should vote for anybody you want.
Right. Of course, you vote for whoever you like. We just want you to surely make a plan to vote, please. That helps us all participate.
Absolutely.
Right. And Mike and I, we assembled a pretty fun show. And how we do that is this is the Colorado Comedy Show's virtual event center and our private writing room. A gorgeous view of the Rockies. And Mike?
Chuck.
Mike, I was cruising into going to tell folks about the history of beer and comedy, the whole episode, what we have going. And Mike, seems like you have something you want to bring up.
Roy.
Hi.
What is that obscuring the beautiful mountains of Colorado? What is that monstrosity in the background?
Well, Mike, that's what's called a Kennedy Center Award for Innovative Teaching. If you want,
are you telling me?
It's the Kennedy Center.
Stop right there. Stop right there.
I'll stop.
Are you telling me that you, Chuck Roy, have won a Kennedy Center Award?
Well, yeah. That's it right there in the window.
That's like the one in Washington D.C. Kennedy Center.
It's exactly the big white one in Washington D.C. It's it. That Kennedy Center.
We're going by the Books Depository Kennedy Center Award.
Absolutely, like the do not drive over the Chappaquiddick Bridge after date night award family people. Mike, it's an award for innovative teaching. I think we dwell too much. But
I don't think we dwelled nearly enough on it. And I think we'll prove that throughout the show.
I do want to mention guests of the ApocaLips comedy show. We've put them up here. And this is where we want to start tonight's story. This is Mike. This is a Museum of Cairo in Egypt, where this particular Kennedy Center award-winning teacher of comedy. I used my vast academic resources. You wouldn't believe the quality library the Community College of Denver affords me. And I researched all of 28 minutes, everybody, right across Wikipedia.
I spent an entire summer. I spent an entire summer on the Cairo campus.
Yeah, I wanted to find out the history of beer.
Studying nurse's assistantship.
Right. So I wanted to find out the history of beer. I thought we'd be in England and I'd be making fun of Mike with a whole lot of castles and everything. Turns out beer not invented in England.
No.
By monks or anything I thought of. I'm wicked white. Turns out invented in Egypt, ancient Egypt.
Absolutely. This was King Tut's favorite beer. It was Birdseed Lager.
Right. If you've never tried Birdseed Lager, a little more bitter than hops.
As he calls it, according to his right hand there, it's ApocaLips. That's right.
This early
you learn at an ApocaLips, my friend.
This early in the show, we've come up with something.
Not necessarily at the show, sometimes just at the comics. There's Nefertiti, and here's absolutely the Rockettes of Sundar.
Right. Amazingly, the moment beer and comedy met, line dancing and stage dances began. So beer plus comedy. You
may notice that there is
Macarena.
barley, there's wheat, and there are containers all being held by these gentlemen who can high kick and cross step like the best of them.
Right. And just so you know, this is where the Three Stooges stole their act from. These guys, five brothers, rooted in Mesopotamia. This is the first time somebody tried to do a bong hit with beer. So the first beer bong hit dates all the way back to Egypt. Who knew?
That's mead, actually. That's made of honey in there.
Right. That's a sweet joke, Mike. I'm amazed at the amount of humor.
The first guy who had a little bit too much to drink, standing over the very first primitive toilet.
Right?
Amazing that we were able to keep this going for 6,000 years. Somebody said, you know what? Sure. Akhenaten is embarrassed tonight, but someday he'll think this is funny.
Right. And here I thought it was a statue.
So I'm just going to have a guy carve him.
Well, I thought it was a statue of Egypt's first gay bar.
No, that's the
we are what we need. This is it, Mike. This is the summary of our little history of where beer and comedy first met. And this photo just enthralled me. Again, for here, I was expecting monks, and this is a statue that dates back to ancient Egypt.
They're playing bar bowling. It's 7,000 years old. Bar bowling.
The first beer and bowling league. These are the guys who are like, you know what, Eddie, your jokes suck. We should hire a pro. And
by Eddie, I mean Ramses.
Right. So they came up with the history. They came up with the idea of adding.
Yeah, that's
beer.
Pop Iris on the right there, who wrote the very first book. He was a good friend of, Ramses II, who they let my people go.
Yes.
Back when we were still Jews.
Yes. And by the way, happy Yom Kippur to you and your family, my friend. Folks, I hope you enjoyed getting a little bit of I did. I liked learning a little bit about beer and comedy. Tonight's headliner, a beer expert.
Yes.
Not really an expert on about anything about beer. He's just an expert at being fun and drinking beer and laughing. So Stephen Young is going to be here. I just enjoy his comedy, and I hope you do too. We have a terrific headliner tonight, and then lots of cool guests.
He knows a lot about beer, though. You have to admit, he knows a lot about beer.
Yes, Mike. And all of our comedians, especially our guest comedians traveling from far away, are staying at the Colorado Comedy Show's virtual guest house located just outside Englewood, Colorado. A little closer to Cherry Creek, but I don't want to give away the exact location. Don't need anybody to stalk our guests and such. Without,
if you were to drive by a large golf course on University Avenue, you might be able to see it from the street. Maybe not, but you might.
Yeah, if you do, potentially. But this month, we're inspired by this first comedian is our artist in residence this month. So he'll be performing at many of the ApocaLips comedy shows. Would you please welcome Jonathan Solomon, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you very much. And a couple things.
Please buy some of his art.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, yeah. The graphics have been added since I last saw you.
It's a long time to put that booth up.
Speaking of, I've got the microphone stand here, but it's really just confusing because it's not plugged in there. So I just want people to know I put the big bucks into having it, and now I'm gonna put it aside. Yeah, gonna put it aside. So hi, it's just yeah. I'm old. I'm an old person. I'm easily confused. So speaking of old, this goes way back. Tonight is Yom Kippur.
Hey, congratulations. Happy Yom Kippur.
Applause, no?
Yes, absolutely.
No, it doesn't really fit. You're wrong, applause. Yom Kippur. Here's my favor to everybody in the audience. Don't tell anyone in my family I'm on the show. This is like the most solemn day of the Jewish year. And when I made the date, I didn't realize it was Yom Kippur. I did know that I was not an observant Jew, so I didn't really give a fuck. But I do feel badly, and my family is meeting on Zoom to have this anyway. So since I'm on, now I can go hang with the family. Just in case there's any question of me being Jewish, Jonathan Solomon.
Always good to make sure you have something to atone for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff. But yeah, my name is Solomon, which is actually my show business name because I wanted to appear less year. My given name is Menachem Ben Hanukkah. So that's my actual actual Jewish name. Let's go through a couple of things I want to say. First of all, I really did go to town with the graphics. Maybe I got too many graphics. I got a Cabo Comedy Fest t-shirt on, which I'm wearing just to remind myself of when I used to get out of the house. When I last did the show, I had this joke. I said, I might as well, blah, 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 get the vaccine because my car is a paperweight. Is a large paperweight now. But honest to God, I was in the car the other day. There were cobwebs. This joke is, I don't know if it's going to get a laugh from you guys, but it's certainly getting one from me. There are cobwebs on the steering wheel. That's how infrequently I'm in the car. And the Cabo Comedy Festival, in case you wanted to know, the comedians, in case you're wondering why you weren't booked for it, who the booker is, it was done one time about 8 years ago, and it was great. And then, well, it wasn't, a lot of the young comedians weren't that funny, either that or the notorious Mexican bandits stole their good jokes. But supportive laugh from the old guys. That's going to get me in trouble with everybody else. So what was I saying about Mexico? Oh yeah. So I just wanted to remind myself. But here's the big thing. Let's be solemn for a minute, please, everybody. More so than Yom Kippur. I want to dedicate my show tonight to Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Right. Yes. Well.
Yeah. I don't want to dedicate it to the Ruth Bader Ginsburg family, though. I think they sort of came up short in helping out the left wing here. I mean, she's dead. Why did we have to know that? Couldn't they have just sort of gone with this till January 20th? A little, she's already been sort of not, a little weekend at Ginsburg's is what I was thinking. Bring her over to the court, put her in the office. No one's gonna know, if she doesn't make a decision. There, what's going on? She's thinking.
Yes.
She's deliberating.
She's abstaining from the case.
Yeah, and you just when anybody walks in, they just go. So, and by the way, I think Ruth Bader Ginsburg would hopefully would enjoy my humor on this. So, weekend at Ginsburg's. Next time we lose a judge 2 days before, and the new judge is now much younger than Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's actually 17. So she'll be in the court quite a while. And I just wanted to throw in a true story. This is not what we usually do with stand-up, but I want to tell a true story. Trying something new. Why I think, and I actually thought about this today, why I think Ruth Bader Ginsburg would have enjoyed the joke. And this is a totally true story. So we really got to make it clear. I'm not now doing a stand-up bit. I'm doing a little raconteurship in the middle of my set. All right. So years ago, Bella Abzug, who was one of the great women, iconic, feminist, liberal lions of the Congress, so sort of a similar figure as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she worked her congressional law. How many people, raise hands, how many people know who Bella Abzug was? Wow.
I do.
All right. I guess there's good people on both sides. Well, anyway, the joke's going to make less sense if nobody knows who she is. She was not a classically attractive woman. So basically, I'm telling the story to Mike. Mike's the only person who knows.
Okay.
So before I started making my living as a comedian, I was a waiter in the restaurant downtown Manhattan where she had her office, and she was a difficult woman, wonderful woman, but she was the way the other waiters didn't appreciate as much as I did. They didn't want to wait on her table. So, I am riffing through a whole bunch of stuff. Mike, you've got to be on the ball here for timing when my time's up. How much time do I got left?
I have no idea. I wasn't timing you.
Oh, shoot.
I can give you, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 6 minutes from right now.
Okay. All right, great. So thank you. That's a lot of time. So, okay. So here's a true story. This is a true story. So one day she said to me, Jonathan, I know you're a comedian and I know they tell jokes about me. Tell me one of the jokes. And the only joke I knew was, I won't tell you, it was a graphically sexual joke that unflatteringly spoke of Bella Abzug's sexual attractiveness. So I said, Bella, there's a joke, but you don't need to hear it. You know, anytime there's a great feminist icon, misogynist men are going to come up with some sort of unattractive, offensive joke. Why? There's no point in. And she says, this is Bill Absher, she said, tell me the joke. I said, well, Bella, you know, it's a sexual joke. It sort of compares you unfavorably to, you don't even want to tell me the joke. Well, it's as if it's how attracted a man might be. It's tell me the joke. So finally, I just said, tell her. So here was the joke. So what's the difference between a bowling ball and Bella Absher? Anybody?
What's
you could eat a
what?
bowling ball if you had to.
A hat? What?
You could eat a bowling ball if you had to. And the reason I want to tell this story is she laughed just like Chuck did. Laughed and laughed, and she became a lifelong friend of mine, which I won't go into more. And so in honor of the great feminist icons who also have a sense of humor, which if you've ever watched documentaries about RPG, she did too. That's that story. What did I want to talk about? What else? Don't tell anyone I'm here. Yeah, I got that. Oh yeah. So the reason I'm happy to be here though is really Chuck. This has got to be one of my favorite shows, ApocaLips. In fact, it's my second favorite show anywhere, anytime. Second favorite show. Anyone want to know my first? Anyone want to know
what's your first favorite show?
What is your first favorite show?
My first favorite show, everybody, I think we know this from a couple weeks ago, Wheel of Fortune.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the audience, I'm hoping we all watch Wheel of Fortune because as you may know, Wheel of Fortune is, do you know what it is? You know what it's called? Folks, anybody know its nickname?
May I buy a foul?
It's called America's Game. It's America's Game. So if you're not watching it, how many people watch America's Wheel of Fortune? Raise your hands, please. All right, how many people have watched it sometimes? And how many people have never watched it? Still got,
wow.
Okay. All right, I don't know. Like I said, maybe there's good people on both sides. So I've done a lot of, what I love about America's Game, it should be America's Game, because it's so metaphorical for America. If you watch it, here's some interesting things about it. Vanna White is the woman who turns the letters, except she doesn't have to turn the letters anymore. If you've seen the show in the last 13 years, apparently someone went to the producers of Wheel of Fortune and said, you know, Vanna has to turn these letters. Could you make her job a little easier at $7 million a year? So they said, yeah, we could just make them so they light up and she just has to stand next to them. So she had like a manual labor job. Automation eliminated her job and they kept her on. It's just America. This is what it metaphorically, not even metaphorically, historically, there was a similar thing to this. I don't know if you remember when the tractor was invented, the sharecroppers in Oklahoma were not thrown out of work. They were asked to stay in the fields where the oat and the corn were, but not to harvest anymore, just to wave and smile. That eliminated much of the worry during the Depression when the sharecroppers got that job, just waving and smiling in the fields. The other thing, incidentally, the game, I know a lot about it. It's, as you can tell, and that's why I'm going on and on about it, wait, I got to get this exactly right. Hang on. See, this is like me looking for my notes. Hang on. Tell jokes amongst yourself. I have to find this. Okay, so it's shown, Wheel of Fortune is shown as 23 countries. Nowhere else though is it known. It's not as known as Australia's game. It's not known as, as Bolivia's game. But what's amazing is it's shown in Russia. And in Russia, they don't, the way they introduced Wheel of Fortune America is from Sony Picture Studios. It's America's Game. And then there's this chorus of voices that go, Wheel of Fortune. So they do it a little differently in Russia. What they do in Russia is the introduction is from Channel 1, that's their largest programming provider. It's a state-owned TV. They go from Channel 1 Broadcast Center in Moscow. It's America's demonstration of the myth of merit based on wealth accumulation under capitalism. And then a chorus of people living in the gulag for over 40 years go, Wheel of Fortune. So it's a little good. But I love what they've done though with the thing. You know, the myth of wealth accumulation. Clearly, the person doing the translation of the original is in no danger of getting poisoned by blood of your people.
Yeah.
The other thing I love about the show is people are just very happy. Vanna's happy because she doesn't lose her job. But in all the years, the two sentences you always hear on Wheel of Fortune is, can I buy a vowel? And, no, Chuck, no, not Chuck. Pat, I'd like to buy a vowel. And Pat, I'd like to solve the puzzle. But what happens is, if you ever watch it, when they hit bankrupt, like if someone like had called out the letter T 5 times, and each time be worth $500, so they have $2,500 in the bank. And if they hit bankrupt, they lose money. And no one in 39 years has ever complained. People say, Pat, I'd like to buy a vowel. Pat, I'd like to sign. No one has ever said, Pat, I'd like to back slowly out of the studio and I'm keeping the fucking money. Never happened, not
Never
once.
happened.
Plus, I love the bios at the beginning. They always say, tell us about yourself. And no one has ever said anything negative in the history of the show. I want to go on the show or find someone to go on the show and just give an honest bio up front. You know, I'm wondering is whether Pat will notice, like if he has a different card in his hand, it's not like they walk out. So tell us about yourself. Well, I'm married to my handsome husband, Jeremy, and I just found out he's having an affair with my sister. And Pat will go, and I see you're on the early stages of adrenal cancer. Well, our next book, I'm thinking will happen.
Your 6 minutes have come and gone.
What's it? 6 minutes have come and gone?
That's
Jonathan Solomon, everybody.
Thank you very much. Have a great show.
Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Right. We're going to need funnier pens in the comedy green room, Mike. Okay, have fun, Jonathan. Thanks for being here. We have a first timer on the ApocaLips, not a first time comedian, but his first time here. He's a popular performer on your show, Mike, on Monday nights. He comes to all of the open mic shows. That's on Monday night. And he's also winner of the easiest name to say on the cast. So please welcome Sukumar Vijay Raghavan.
Sukumar.
Hey, so I did a set at Comedy Works in March, just before everything got shut down. And after the show, one of the criticisms I got was that my setups were too long. So here's the rule I was told to follow, and that is, when you're doing a set, you need to get your first laugh by 18 seconds. So in exactly 3 seconds, if you all laugh, I can get along with my set. So anyway, so that sort of got me thinking. It says, what is the appropriate amount of setup you need? So I thought I'd do an experiment with you guys today. And that is to determine what's the minimum amount of setup is needed to appreciate a joke. So in other words, how much intellectual effort you're willing to put in to connect a punchline, to connect a setup to a punchline. So what I thought I'd do is I'll start telling you jokes with no setup and progressively increase the amount of context I provide to the joke. And remember, if you don't laugh, it's not that the jokes aren't funny. It just means that you're intellectually lazy. So here we go. So with no setup, I think, you know what's a real bummer? Honeymoon period. So if the going gets tough, try coming. So, okay, so now a little more setup. So I was excited a month ago when I got this email from an agent in Hollywood asking me if I could fly over to LA to shoot a pilot. So funnily enough, a week before that, I got an identical email from Al Qaeda. So So have you been following this whole debate about who the richest man in the world is? You know, it depends on how you calculate wealth and all that stuff, right? So is it Bill Gates, or is it Jeff Bezos, or is it Jimmy Buffett's older brother Warren? But I think they're all wrong. I think the richest man has got to be Jesus. So hear me out. So if Jesus saves, think about it, 2,000 years at about 5.5% compound interest would make him the richest man in the world. So here's one last thing I wanted to tell you before I leave. And one of the things has been that I have always been in shape. All my life I've been in shape. The debate has always been what that shape should be. So, all my life I've gone with oblate spheroid. But as I'm growing old, I've sort of become sensitive about my weight. And so last year when I read an article in Newsweek, which was titled "The War Against Obesity," I wasn't too happy with that. So I think we got to rethink how we name these programs that we have. You know, they're always very violent. You have war against poverty, you have war against crime, you have war against drugs, and now war against obesity. So when did we transition from a drug war to fat wars? And sort of talking about the fat wars, it reminds me, if you remember, many years ago, the Iranian mullahs declared a fat war against the author Salman Rushdie. So basically, what they were telling at that time, and we just didn't, we misunderstood. What they were saying was, dude, you need to lose a few pounds, and the way, if you look at a picture of Salman Rushdie, you know that they were pretty reasonable about that, and he really warranted a loss of to lose some pounds. Anyway, so I thought that joke would get a resounding laugh. But what I was prepared for this. So I recruited, before the show, I recruited Kayleigh McEnany to be my PR person for this show. And if you watch the news tomorrow, you'll realize that joke got a standing ovation from all 2,000 of you, and it just killed. So I'll stop there and thank you very much.
Okay, that's
ladies and gentlemen,
Ragavan, ladies and gentlemen. And he's wearing a Indian Nepalese heritage camp T-shirt. It has the world's most difficult ropes course. A lot of people don't know that.
Remember when Donald Trump ordered that fat twat on Roseanne? I made that joke.
You're mispronouncing that, Chuck.
Right, I'm gonna stop. But we needed to do at least one pro-Trump joke today. We get soldiers in the house. We don't know how they vote. Yeah, we do. Gang, time for some plugs, and we'll get to our gifts. We've got gifts for our audience, and then Megan O'Neill, Stephen Young will be joining us as comedians as well. Coming up ahead are the virtual pub theater battles. That tonight's show, History of Beer and Comedy, brought to you by the virtual pub theater battles. Be happy to tell you more about those next week. Don't forget, New Year's Eve, save the date. Rick, Amanda, I'll take care of your tickets if you and Rick can make it, unless Rick's band is playing somewhere cool. But New Year's Eve with the virtual comedy show at the ApocaLips. We'll start at 7. And Al Del Benny is going to join us on New Year's Eve. I'm sorry, I think maybe that's for the Dirty Christmas show. Conroy is coming up as an episode. We're going to take our 18-wheelers out. And then Laugh Boat is coming up on October 11th. We're gonna parody Love Boat. That's gonna be really fun. We'll sail aboard the Amanita yacht. That'll be fun. Monday nights we have a cool show called Open Mic, starring Mike Langworthy. That's where you can see lots of funny new comedians. And I'm working out, everybody. Time for the annual Dirty Christmas show. This is a favorite of mine. Steve Young, Mike Langworthy, and then inviting some new folks and such. Very, very, very dirty jokes annually, brought to you on Black Friday. So stay tuned.
The most notorious thing about that show.
Right. Super fun. And now time to say thank you to our VIPs and such, including and our general admission audience members. Charlotte, thank you. I enjoyed talking to you earlier this morning. I hope you were able to invite your son. And if not, I hope he's able to watch here on the YouTube because he's also a VIP. And congratulations on recent promotion to Staff Sergeant William Archuleta. Congratulations.
Yes. Huge round of applause
Awesome.
for William Archuleta.
Right, and we're really happy for you, and just serves in the Air Force, so we want to say thanks, and wanted to bring your mom a little closer to where you are. I know she hadn't seen you in a while, so everybody that might be, could be, possibly not, probably not anywhere near where he works or anything like that. But also Amanda, a VIP, so want to say thanks to you, Amanda. Appreciate you and Rick. Hope you're enjoying your new home. And I know this year you were missing Beck at Red Rock, so I got that special for you. I just thought you would see Beck now during the show. Just a quick Beck on the cheek for you. Anyway, there's Beck. He's singing just for you, and it's like being at Red Rocks. If you're on mushrooms, this looks real. So there he's doing a big dance move for you. I thought, that's just like Beck. He's always known for his flips and such. So hope you enjoyed your little Beck concert. And then for you and the rest of our troops, we thought we'd give you some liberty, right? It's football. We'll run the Statue of Liberty play, take you by the Statue of Liberty aboard the Amanita yacht. Imagine this, start relaxing, troops. I know you work hard, so pick a cabin and chill aboard the Amanita.
Imagine this was the beginning of a 3-day pass in Manhattan.
Right. So this is like a 3-day pass inside of 6 seconds. More like 22. Maybe we'll do this for a minute. But either way, you just feel relaxed. You're patriots. You work hard for our country and you keep us safe. So I thought we bring you by Washington. This guy's a big fan of our show and a big fan of you. So hope you enjoy your time in Washington. So feel relaxed on your quick 3-day tour. And then got you this. VIPs, you all get to just imagine owning this castle. You get this one. The Amanita will sail right there. She goes anywhere and she'll board right in. And so feel free to stay. This will be your VIP gift tomorrow in our newsletter. So that's it. Soak it in. Just you own this moment and you own this castle virtually anytime you'd like. You just picture this and you go to your castle. Mike, which room is yours? Do you have it when you stay and visit our guests?
When I visit my guests, I always stay in the room third from the left as you face the building.
Third from the left as you face the building. Second floor, first floor, or top floor?
Second floor. You don't want to be on the first floor because the building has rats. A lot of people don't know that.
Right.
One drawback of the building.
Just, and
then trained to march in file order, so they don't actually look like rats. They look like very, very, very small soldiers.
Right, and then that's a key tip for everybody. And then if you want to enjoy a well-lit book or something like that, the second floor, right side.
Here, there's another one. This is Chuck's room, where you can see. You might be able to make out Kennedy Center Award.
It might be there, Mike. It might be in.
Found its way in Europe.
I like it, Mike. I want to share and shed light on the world. So feel free to enjoy that room. It's a beer week, so we got you these steins. Yeah. You get to imagine owning this beer stein. My dad has a beer stein collection. One of us has to inherit it. What a pain in the ass. We're actually gonna have to dust it and put it somewhere. You get to own fancy beer stein and just you store it virtually, just right up in your memory banks.
For our new staff sergeant and his compatriots.
Now I had this made for you by Chef Mark Scapone, our virtual kitchen. Just some cheese.
Was that what it is?
I think so.
Oh my God, I thought we'd been castrating bulls. My bad.
General admission members, we have gifts for you. Blondie will be there to take your order, and then we get you some cool gifts. They're not as cool as the VIP gifts. Our VIPs are a treasure. They got beer steins, you got Ben Stein.
Yep.
That's what you got.
He'll give you an honorary subscription to the American Spectator. You can read all the news that's fit to print here in 1245.
Yep, you get to sort of imagine owning Ben Stein or this lady, or why not the girl just to the left? That imagine she's your pal. The John Hickenlooper, Bill Weld looking guy
He was
over
voted
the
most likely to marry an inmate.
Right. So, and we also got you some bread, general admission folks. I know you're poor.
Holla.
There's some fresh bread. That really was holla. And then thanks again. We do spend time reminding folks about Elevating Connections if you just tuned in on the YouTube, or if you're motivated to go directly to their website. This works, Mike. Stacy told us that folks have been going to the website and donating amounts like $200. That's crazy. That's a good amount. Gets you almost about halfway to a connecting event. You know, sometimes it just costs $300-400 to get all the kids together. She hooks them up real good, you know, makes sure they have a nice time when they get together with their siblings and such. And then a quick moment to remind you, if you so choose, we have a big fun virtual event. We're putting it on, so all the comedians are going to volunteer and make the fun entertainment at the Elevating Connections big celebrations dinner. I got to do the ass cash grab thing or something. I forget what it's called. I don't think it's an ass grab, but I think it's a cash grab or something. We got to get them to do. Last year we got 8 people to donate over $15,000 during the cash grab. So I got to beat my record this year. Happy birthday, Elevating Connections, Chef Scapone. Pushing the salads all the time with Chef Scapone and the salads, Mike. That's his thing. He really wants me to eat more salad. So go to elevatingconnections.org. Mike, you mentioned our next comedian and her credentials. We met her, I believe, at Mega Mike.
We did.
Our open mic.
Things outside. Remember that?
Remember being at venues? Remember we would go to places? Everybody, remember that? That was so fun. Yeah. We're going to do it again one day. We would go to places. We would entertain real people.
So people are putting up handshakes on Pornhub.
Yeah, and one person really entertained us, and we always like to invite to the ApocaLips. Just nice woman, good spirit, and very funny. Would you please welcome Megan O'Neill, ladies and gentlemen? Here's Megan.
Oh, hi. Thank you, Chuck. So kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is everybody doing at home tonight? Just
good.
What? Great.
Fine. Relaxed. Good. Good. I did a virtual doctor's appointment. I was kind of worried I was having a manic episode, but it turns out I'm just happy. Like, first time in a long time. Did not expect that. I thought I had a extreme sense of grandeur. No, just a healthy self-esteem. So that's good news. I think I'm just finally happy now that like everybody else is upset about the world. And it's like, okay, I'm not.
You're not alone?
I'm not alone anymore. I'm alone here, but I'm not alone. Yeah, so my work, we've been taking bets on how the rest of this year is going to play out. I think I've got it down pat. October, I think our Space Force, sorry, veterans. I think our Space Force is going to nuke the moon. Let me explain, because Trump's most rational fear is werewolves. And yeah, I feel like the evangelists will have to vote for him for killing Halloween. Okay, maybe a little too realistic. I'm thinking November there's going to be riots and looting. I don't know who's going to win, but that's only going to make Christmas the best Christmas ever, all right?
Makes your being happy even more impressive, I must say.
God, like I can't wait to see my brothers like open their gifts under the tree. Like, oh my God, Megan, did you get us PS5s? I'll just be sipping my hot chocolate like, oh, how did I do that? I just know what you guys want. I pulled it off. Yay, go me. Perfect mom. Yeah, so with tonight being all about beer and comedy, I figured the best way I could do this set, being raised Irish Catholic, I would do limericks. So, away we go.
Let's go.
A history of beer and jokes should go hand in hand with tokes. So remember Cheech and Chong, and you'll never go wrong. So please do not forget the bong. All righty. I know you guys had hinted that I was in the Air Force, so I'll go ahead and joke about that. There once was a girl on a plane. There's me. The wind spun faster than the weather vanes. We flew up, then went down, and the gray-colored clowns had my stomach contents first to touch ground. I didn't fly very much. Got air sick real quick, and I get so nervous before flights, I would just stuff my face. All right, that's a whole long story. All right. Oh, God. Okay. Here we go. The babies born this next quarter indicate their parents suffered from boredom. Months of Netflix and chill and not feeling ill brings to us a new kind of pill. This one I wrote up on the fly. Let's try this one out. There once was a man in Denver who wanted to craft his own beer there. So he set out for Rhino, ran into a dino, and kicked out to make room for the excavator. Sorry, forget that one.
I don't know. I liked it.
I like it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, your brownie points for you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I have been lucky enough to visit my, ancestry land. So I got to go visit Ireland. So here's a limerick about that. In Ireland, we drank at a rate where pints were as small as they came. We glugged and we chugged. Then I went and unplugged the cork that sent beer down the drain. He gets that one now. Oh. Moving on. Here's one for the best guys that have let me onto the show, so blame them. Let's see here.
We'll take it.
Along came Chuck and Mike to the goods all cheery and bright. Then I called Mike a boomer for being a Sears catalog consumer. But somehow he let me on tonight.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry tonight.
No, I don't have that kind of mean bone in my body. Couldn't do it. Can't do it. Yeah, oh my God. My boyfriend had his 30th birthday this week, so I tried to throw a surprise party for him. And it got to the point where he was really starting to be suspicious. And so instead of trying to avert things, I just yell at him. And I couldn't keep it up. I felt terrible. He's feeling around in the back seat for something. He's like, is that a cake? And I freeze. I don't know how to react. I'm like, why would I bring a cake? I'm stealing your birthday. This is over. Get over yourself. Nobody cares that you're 30. But I did. And I was like, oh, yes, it is cake. So I ruined the whole surprise for him in that moment in the car ride. He wouldn't have known if I had just sucked it up. Okay. So Chuck, Mike, thank you so much for having me on the show tonight. I wish I had more limericks for you.
That was the most perfect time set I've ever heard.
Megan O'Neill.
You said thank you on the buzzer. Damn. Boo and ya.
Wow, I wish I had a limerick for you.
My
I have a
whole life
live
I've been
Ricky.
pronouncing it limerick. Oh
Right.
my God.
I was going to say limerick. That's how I pronounce it, but I didn't
We're
want to.
not from Ireland, are we, Chuck?
No.
You're from Canada. I'm from Massachusetts Bay originally, but then we settled the country and took all this Indian stuff, and now I'm from Michigan.
Mike is a descendant of Jonathan Edwards, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. The title of his first album.
Title of my first album was Speak for Yourself, Mike.
Right. What was it like to record with Alexander Graham Bell, Mike?
Slow, slow, terribly, terribly slow.
Yes. Who could predict what would top the charts on the Victrola? Mike Langworthy could, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what? I was the first one to record opera ever.
Right, but you were trying to do comedy.
That was the problem.
Folks,
That was the problem.
right, folks, if you are on the Instagram on Saturdays, there's a terrific show where you can drink beer and laugh along with our headliner. We had a ball yesterday on @DearComics on the Instagram. And he's funny here every week. And I just enjoy the way he writes jokes. And I hope you'll please give a nice warm welcome to Stephen Young, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Stephen Young.
Stephen Young.
Thank you, everyone. And that was great. I have to confess, it's the most limericks I've ever heard without going to Nantucket. So
I once went to Nantucket
I
in a
don't know if
bus.
that says more about you or me, but so I hope people don't get offended really at my set. I learned I'm actually incapable of offense. I can't even really imagine offense. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm like the Denver Broncos. So that probably offended people more than some of the horrible things I might say later. I will say this, and I mean this, I am honored to be in the presence of people who've served in the military. My father was a volunteer Army Ranger in World War II, and it was brutal. And he was not a sucker. He was a brave man, and I admire those people. I've never really had any experience. My only experience with the military is I was dishonorably discharged by the Salvation Army. So it was it was an unfortunate incident. I was arrested on Christmas Eve. And I mean, the cop is like, look, just because it's Christmas doesn't mean you can go around drunk, not wearing anything but a Santa hat, asking women if you could stuff their stocking.
Yeah.
I said, it's Christmas Eve. No kidding. What a coincidence. It's just more of a typical Tuesday pour moi. So perhaps I've overshared already. I'm sorry about that. I'm rattled. It's, I mean, this COVID thing is obviously unprecedented, and I take turns being terrified or thinking it's nothing. I mean, because all we really know about it, right, is it's going to be sweaty and unpleasant, and there's a 5% chance it might kill you. So it's basically just like a Tinder date is all we really know. But I mean, it's been hard on my family. We're at the point now where we're just taking random things out of our freezer and putting them in the microwave. And then, then we heat them up to see what they might be. And then we eat them anyway. So, frankly, the other night I had some delicious wedding cake. That was good. And a few evenings ago, we had what might have been the remains of my son's betta fish, who was awaiting a proper burial. But I'm trying to live in this online world. I clicked on a banner ad for a virtual colonoscopy, and now I can't find my computer mouse. So I think I did something wrong there. I don't know how that's going to work. Even our vet is into telemedicine, but I don't really like that. He said, for your new puppy, you got to have him neutered. So he just sent us the kit, which is a bottle of doggy downers and a cleaver. So I'm not even sure I want to try that. I will say this, look, I don't like talking about the news. The news is horrifying. I made a vow not to look today at any news. And then of course, I heard some news right before this show, and you might have heard it too, that our president's tax returns are in the New York Times. And apparently the year he became president, he paid $750 in income tax. So total. And the same year, his companies paid $150,000 in taxes to the Philippines. I'm thinking, man, that guy's a regular Douglas MacArthur. He's like, I'll file returns. So that was, that's a World War II joke that is about, it's quite young, but hey, there it was. I mean, so he lost so much money, he paid $750. And now I know why he wants to mail out those stimulus checks, right? I mean, he's going to put one in a return envelope or just with no stamps. It'll come back to him. I don't, he even apparently paid $70,000 to his hairstylist, which I found really inspiring. I mean, actually, if we want a shrewd, cunning businessman and a tough negotiator as our commander-in-chief, we clearly need to hire his hairdresser, because that guy's good, man. Way to drive a hard bargain. It also, it sheds some light on why the third lady didn't want to move to the White House. You might recall she stayed in New York to renegotiate her prenup. You know, she wanted clarity on these issues that are obviously part of these taxes. Like, well, if we break up, who gets the bankrupt golf course? Well, who gets the other bankrupt golf course? Well, who gets this bankrupt golf course? Well, wait a minute, but who gets the bankrupt mail order meat company? Well, who gets the bankrupt mail order fake university? I don't care about any of these bankrupt companies. Who's going to take care of Lindsey Graham in his old age if he never meets the right fella? So these were the issues. They ironed him out. I'm sure it's fine. And we're doing great here in this country. 759 Americans died today of COVID. And look, I mean, in Germany, you know, another country, another great superpower, they're facing the same problem. They had 11. So we're beating them still. We are killing those guys, literally, I guess. So, speaking of Germany.
They're number one.
Yeah, we are number one. This is a true news story you can Google later or now, you know, or during your Day of Atonement. But the town of Swastika, New York, voted this week to keep its name. That was their decision. They had a council meeting and said, you know what? In the original Sanskrit, it means peace and well-being. To which I really want to quote the Princess Bride and say, that word does not mean what you think it means. So, I mean, so there they are, they're happy, but the Swastika New York story actually inspired a neighboring burg that's going to keep their name that was from the original Inuit. And it means tranquility and love, but if it's pronounced ass liquor notch. But hey, keep it, because you know what it means. Ass liquor notch. Yeah, sorry, I'm proud of that one. So I'll read a few more. There's a few more news stories you might be interested in. A guy walked into a Home Depot and he sawed off one of his arms. And then he sawed half of his remaining arm. I'm not even sure how he got that far, but I was thinking about this story and I thought, boy, typical do-it-yourselfer. I mean, he can't finish a project. So, I mean, can you imagine? You go to this guy's house and it's got like the squeaky door, the shaky banister, the dangling arm. So that joke had an act out. I hope you enjoyed that one. It's baseball season. I'm excited. About this. A great baseball player, Ted Williams, had his head cryogenically stored. And that's a fancy word, right? But it just means frozen. It just sounds fancier that way. I like to keep a bottle of Jägermeister cryogenically stored. Right next to my cryogenic White Castle cheeseburgers. But I admire Ted Williams for his optimism and his foresight. I mean, although I'm not sure he's fully thought this through. He is of the belief, apparently, that someday in the future, scientists will figure out a way to bring dead heads back to life. But he's also banking on somebody else having the foresight to freeze a torso. I mean, because otherwise, what do you do when you come back? I mean, there's not a lot of job opportunities just for a severed head. I mean, sure, you could be like a stunt double for the beginning of the Brady Bunch, you know, or you could, I don't know, you could be like an eyeglass model, or of course you could man a glory hole at an underground sex club. But beyond that, what else are you gonna do? So I don't know. I guess kids used to collect baseball cards. Now they'll just collect parts. You're gonna be like, oh, how much you give me for Mickey Mantle's liver? Oh, not much. That thing's been used. It's got some miles on it. So this was terrible and sad, and I'm sorry, but I try to be a nice person. I'm married. I'm not great at being married. I tried to be nice. I made my wife a cup of tea, but before I did it, she said, hey, wait. If you can't use the old tea water, you got to pour it out, because once it's been boiled, it loses all its oxygen. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? What are you talking about? So apparently, on our stove, we have a pot of hydrogen. I'm like, well, allow me to fix you a piping mug of Hindenburg, I told her. So that's a chemistry joke. We took the O out of the H2O, and it was fun for at least one of us. So, and then I noticed that my wife she's joined an online garage sale, which is a lot like a regular garage sale, but it never ends. There's never that moment where you declare all of the stuff garbage and leave it there. but it just keeps going. But what I've noticed is my wife is only selling my things on the online garage sale. And so it's kind of like getting a divorce by 1,000 cuts in $5 increments. But I noticed the first thing she sells on the online garage sale is a lot of Hot Wheels cars. It's my Hot Wheels cars. And she lies them, she sets them on the floor to take a photo, and she has a Barbie doll lying next to him, like it's the auto show or something. And she thought that was funny. That's not funny. That's not to scale, right? I mean, Barbie would crush a Hot Wheels car. That's like using Chris Christie to sell a Vespa. You just don't do it. Somebody could get hurt. But anyway, I look every day to see now, as part of my morning constitution, what I might be losing on the online garage sale, or what I might bid on, right? I mean, it's a free country, I think. It's very free. It's tax-free. So I see on the chopping block is my lucky shirt. And yeah, my wife is selling my lucky shirt. And I get it. My lucky shirt's not great. You know, it's kind of tattered. It's sleeveless, from sort of the Patrick Swayze Roadhouse collection, but I like it. So I confront her. I say, what are you doing selling my lucky shirt? And my wife says, well, Steve, that shirt is a piece of shit. And when you wear it, you look like a fucking moron. So my wife is really good at arguing. I should have mentioned that part. She's a very strong argument there. But I thought I had a better argument. I said, but that's my lucky shirt. That's the shirt I was wearing on the day I met you. Isn't that nice? I thought. She said, yeah. And it's the shirt you'll be wearing on the day I leave you. I said, so it's still lucky then, is what you're saying. So anyway, that's all I got. My name's Stephen Young. You guys have been lovely.
Yeah.
All right. Stephen Young, ladies and gentlemen. Watch him on the Deer Comics at the Bar. Would you please? Wow, Mike, we had a hell of a show today. Lots of fun comedians. And still a little more fun.
Where do I go to pay more money? But no.
We probably could charge you more money, but I think we packed this show full of fun. There's still some more fun to be had. Everybody hang out. But a nice round of applause for all the comedians you saw tonight, if you would, please. It was super fun. We had Jonathan Solomon and Sukumar Bijuragaban and Megan O'Neill and Stephen Young all joined us for the history of beer and comedy. We'll walk you out towards the exits and hang out. There's one more sing-along. Mike doesn't know the words or the tune. So that's always fun. And again, thanks. If you were motivated, go right to their website, donate to Elevating Connections, learn more, join their mailing list. You know, if that motivates you, we're so happy to talk about them and glad that you helped us contribute to their next connecting event. So we'll take you outside of the apocalypse. Be careful, the neighborhood's gone down, and caution. There's,
Megan on the pole.
Right, Amanda. Just this. I'm an original, like a Boston comedian from when I started, and this is around the corner from Nick's Comedy Stop in the heart of the theater district. Is what was known as the combat zone, full of all kinds of people from different job fields and categories, and I learned a lot as a young youth, strolling through the comedy club scene. My ride's here. Gotta go, everybody. What can I say? But when the guy in gold shows up, we know it's time to say goodbye to the YouTube folks. I planned an extra special trip for everybody afterwards. I know it's nighttime, but for some reason, we've arrived at daytime at Union Station, and at any moment, the I'm a Needy should be sailing in, unless we didn't apply our right port permits. Or there she is, everybody. Get on board the I'm a Needy. We'll take a little trip over real quick. I want to take you out to, we'd show you our new diner afterwards, after the show. And then we'll sing over in the karaoke lounge. We'll stop at Ben Dick's Diner. Just in case we've been dicks, everybody.
Yep.
I'll treat over at Ben Dick's Diner. I just wanted to say that. That's the only joke for that. I wish there was more.
Named after your favorite thing to do with dicks, isn't it?
And there's Gladys's cousin. And we'll go to the back bar of Ben Dick's, everybody, where that's the karaoke lounge. So, you know what, YouTubers, we're gonna let you hang out this time around. Only this time we'll let you watch the sing along. Everybody, you know how to do this. You follow the bouncing Golden Globe. Mike will lead us in the song. He doesn't know the words or the tune. So,
I know these words.
Right, Mike. We'll follow you.
Let's
sing along. Who smoked a bong?
And wrote
a sing along.
Wrote a sing along.
Cookies.
I like cookies.
I would like cookies, please.
Fourscore
and 7 years ago, they totally wanted cookies.
If I
had cookies, this song would.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
Oh
yeah.
Cookies.
Cookies. I'm not sure what was on my mind.
My apologies. My apologies to Irving Berlin. I didn't mean to steal that melody from him.
That's the apocalypse.
A show with cookies.
Comedy show. Goodbye,
Megan
YouTuber.